Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well, and welcome if you are new here. You guys challenged me and challenge accepted. In today's video, we're using the Let's Resin polyurethane resin. This is 1:1 by volume or weight. It is a fast, speedy working resin, 2-minute work time. 2 minutes. I have used this many times on my channel. This is a brand new kit sent to me by Let's Resin, and this video is all about Let's Resin. Not only the polyurethane, but we're putting everything into this. Now, again, this is a 2-part system, measurable equal parts by weight or volume. Now, when we talk about challenges, if you remember the last couple videos back, I made these steampunk coasters. I said I didn't really want them to be coasters. I was looking for a silicone mold, very kind of like steampunky or baroque in style. And so many of you said, Claire, make it yourself. Firstly, I was like, not what I asked for, not what I wanted to do. But I promise you, I searched the World Wide Web for a 10cm round baroque style silicone mold photo frame. Couldn't find one to the size I needed, and the amount of you that said, Claire, make it yourself, I thought, you know what, let's do it. Right, so multiple things here. We're using the Let's Resin polyurethane. We're also using the mold housing. We're gonna make a silicone mold for our picture frame. There's so many elements. First up, I needed to draw around the coaster. Now, this is like contact paper, you know, like sticky back plastic. This is contact paper, and I've drawn on the back of the plastic, so this is not going to interfere with the piece itself. I've drawn around the coaster. I've got my 10cm, sorry about the dodgy camera angles. I've got my 10cm circle. That is what I'm aiming for. So my frame that I'm going to make cannot go kind of like inside that. Equally, it can't go too far outside of that. I need to make sure I don't go as far as the mold housing allows it. So right now, drawn the circle. That's my guide. Now I'm going to draw an outer circle, and I know that my picture frame cannot go past that outer circle. If it does, it won't fit in the mold housing. I don't really want to be making a huge gargantuous picture frame for such a 10cm coaster, but this kind of works. I haven't got much room to play with, but it's enough. It is enough to make a mold. So that's my basis. Right now I'm going to speed through this because you do not need to sit through this in real time. This is the Let's Resin silicone mold housing, and again, it just comes with a ton of bulldog clips that I'm just bulldogging onto the side, holding this mold together, making sure it does not shift, it does not move. Once I've done all of this, again, sped up because nobody needs to sit through in real time, I am then laying down the double-sided sticky tape around all 4 of those edges. Now, this is the base, which will be flipped upside down onto the sticky contact paper, hoping that all 4 sides will come into contact with the contact paper and none of that silicone will seep out. Once I've applied tape to all 4 sides, I'm just setting that mold housing to one side to carry on with this. Now, this is where the fun begins. Like, honestly, I had way too much fun doing this. It was so much fun, so many different elements and components to make up one thing. Now, I have these molds. These are the closest, most detailed, intricate, ornate molds that I have, that made me think I could do something with those. I can cut them up, I can match them, I can make a picture frame out of elements of these molds. Now, these are a combination of Prima and Finnabair. Gorgeous, gorgeous molds. Very, very ornate. Again, wasn't sure which one would work best, so I do end up taking a mold of both. Now, do not forget your gloves and do not forget your respirator. Polyurethane resin also requires gloves and a respirator, and here I am just weighing it out 1:1. Now, this polyurethane is super watery, and I cannot tell you how many times I've accidentally poured 1 gram too much of one of them and have to go back and add the B. This stuff does not play around. It does not play around. Capital letters, okay? You are gonna mix both of these components together as if you are running for the last train of the night, okay? You need to mix fast. Mix fast, pour fast, sit back, take a breath. That's all I can say about this. Now, on the box, it does say you've got a 2-minute work time. I am telling you now, that is all you have, okay? 2 minutes. I tend to mix as fast as I can. Bubbles don't really have any impact in this product at all. There's bubbles, but they don't show, if that makes sense. So I try to mix as fast as I can and pour after 1 minute of mixing, because by the time I've mixed for 1 minute only, it's already hot. You can feel the heat in the cup of both components, you know, AB coming together and doing what they do best, and that is curing within minutes. It is such a cool product to use, and it also means that whatever you're doing, you can do it fast, you know? Yeah, I absolutely love it. So here we are in the second mold. Now, watch carefully, because at this point, my hands are hot. It's really quite hot in the cup. Not burning me or anything. I wasn't ready. I wasn't as ready as I should have been. I mixed up a little bit too much, and look, gone. It's cured. It's cured. The last minute, 2 minutes of film in this video have been in real time. You can see. The hotter it gets, the quicker it cures, right? So on the right hand side, even though I poured that last, it was so hot in the cup. It cured on impact. Whereas this mold, I poured it whilst it was only just mixed a minute. You know, it was pure water. And then and only then does it activate itself and it starts the curing process. This was about 15 to 20 minutes later, and I am demolding. Now, ideally you want to leave it as long as you want to leave it, but I need these pieces to be pliable. I need them to be moldable because we're making photo frames. So I only gave it 10-15 minutes. Make sure your gloves are still on. And now is the time. So you saw me draw these circles. I've peeled off the back of the contact paper. So now we've got the sticky surface to play with. And I'm sticking down sections of these castings. Honestly, at this point, I'm just winging it. Like, I am literally just playing it by eye, seeing what's gonna work and making sure that I stick within those lines and I do not go out and over the outside one. Equally, I don't yet know how these are gonna work as frames. So I don't really want to bring it over and inside the inside line. So again, this was all very, very experimental and fun just to see if we could do it. Now, this is where I'm kind of starting to think what's next, because I've just added 2 little flowers there and I'm trying to work out how I'm going to fill that gap at the top. So out come the rectangular steampunky ones, and I figured this would work. I'll just bend this to fit, and what I really should have done here was cut those corner tips off, the left and the right tips. Cut them off. They were not needed, but I thought if I can just bend it round, manipulate it, mold it around those roses, it would look really amazing. That could be the top of the frame, and I was absolutely buzzing. I was so happy with this. But this little section here did go a bit wrong. It started to rise up, and I think I put too much pressure on it, so it almost bounced back, if you like. It bounced back and ended up just not working at all. Now, moving on to the second picture frame, I am using the rectangles here. So that, even though that mold is already frames, I'm cutting those frames up to mold them around into a circle, you can see here. So I'm just cutting sections of this mold, and I am trying to join them as best I can with flat edges. So I do have to make sure I've cut super flat edges. And again, because I've demolded after just 10-15 minutes, they are super pliable and I can bend them around this circle now. This is so much neater than the first one. So much neater. I do find the more I do, the better I get. But this is definitely true here. Like, this one to me just felt so neat. Again, I don't know why. And it's really only when I'm editing sometimes I think, why didn't I just do it like that? I don't know why I didn't then join that long one up again and find one to fit. Instead, I put it in the middle and I have to find two pieces to fit. Like, make me make sense. I don't make sense to myself, so I don't expect to make sense to anyone else. Just do what works best for you, honestly. Don't do it like me, is what I'm saying. I woulda, shoulda, coulda just put that long bit there and butted it up against the next section and then just found one piece to fit that gap. But instead now we've got two pieces to fit the gap, which makes life just a little bit messy. Now, at this point, I'm thinking if I take a silicone mold of these, the silicone is going to slide down, seep down into all of those joins, and you don't want that. I didn't want that. But hindsight is a wonderful thing, and actually I think that would have just worked, because then I could have just sliced out the silicone that I didn't want. So I think it would have been fine. If I do this again, I would just allow it. I wouldn't bother doing what I'm doing. What I'm doing right now is adding just a small amount of more polyurethane, and I'm allowing just 1 or 2 drips of the polyurethane to seep down into those joins, into those cracks, because I want as smooth a join as possible, thinking the polyurethane would do the job and all would be well and you wouldn't see the cracks and it would be a solid circular mold. But the mess I made was so real. I was like, why on earth would I do that? Why did I do that? And it did not make the joins very solid, strong. You know, they weren't very strong joins. But at the time, again, it was all like, okay, what do I do here? And okay, we've got another challenge. What do I do here? And what I decided to do was, because I made such a mess, I decided to peel them off of that backing tape and put them in fresh backing tape, which is where we discovered the weakness in the joins. So again, this was all, listen guys, I was having fun at this point. I genuinely was having fun, like problem solving, trying to work things out and work out. I already love this frame. If this doesn't even mold well, I am in love with this frame. So I had high hopes. I decided to just go with it. Now here's the thing. Years and years ago, I have a friend who was a creator on this channel called Chris, who is Resin Ace. If anyone remembers Resin Ace, years and years ago, he told me you cannot use UV resin and silicone rubber. They don't like each other. But I thought, you know what? That was years ago. Chris always used a completely different silicone rubber to the one I'm using. So maybe that's, it's different now. Times have changed. So I thought I'd go for it. I UV resined the gaps back together again. I cured for 10 solid minutes front and back, to make sure that UV resin was as solid as a rock. You get me? That is what I did. 10 minutes of cure time. Now, let's talk about the silicone rubber. This is the Let's Resin silicone rubber. I am a silicone rubber ambassador for Let's Resin. You guys know that if you've been with me a while. I love making inlays. I love making silicone molds. Are they sellable? No, absolutely not. I like doing what I do, and none of them are ever really that good. So silicone rubber from Let's Resin, again, is a 1-to-1 measurable by weight in whatever capacity. So a giant cup, small cup, whatever you're doing. I absolutely love it. And you can colour it with mica powder. So I've thrown in some copper mica powder. And whilst I was mixing that, I decided to crack on with the second one. So I've set it to one side. I'm putting this one back together. When I peeled this off the first sheet, it broke into 3 pieces. So I had a lot of gluing back together. So again, 3 sections where I have UV resined the frame back together. And here we are. The second mold housing is going around and we are pretty much ready to go. Now, The mold housings themselves, they are, again, like I said, from Let's Resin. I will leave my Let's Resin details down below. The codes will all be in the description box for UK, Canada, USA. And now we pour silicone. So look at this colour, please. Oh, it's just so beautiful. It was only at this moment I thought, Claire, you are just, oh, honestly, I could kick myself. How much wasted space is in the center of these photo frames. I could have made so many more molds. You know, whatever I had laying around, I just could have put it in the middle. And then I've got more molds, you know, but no. I just poured it. I didn't even think. This is 24 hours later and we have an absolute success. At least it feels like it, of a mold. So again, peeling that contact paper off the back, that is pretty much taking off the double-sided tape. Sometimes it doesn't take off the double-sided tape of these mold housings like any plastic, and you do have to scrape it off with a metal edge tool or use your alcohol spray and just clean those edges properly before you use it again. Came out like a dream, like it always does. Now we do have some spill under. We definitely have some seepage where the silicone has gone underneath the polyurethane forms because they were not touching the surface properly. This was not an issue. I simply got my little tool. I believe this is like a cuticle tool of some kind. Great for silicone edges. Most of the silicone spill under here was kind of thick though, so it's all good using this tool for your edges to neaten up your edges, but when you are dealing with the spill off, the spill over, the spill under in this case, scissors, guys. just whack the scissors out. I was using these big massive scissors. What you could really do with is some like little you know, grooming scissors. Little bitty scissors would have been so much easier than giant kitchen scissors. However, this tool did a fantastic job just getting those thinner bits, but it's just not worth it. Honestly, next time, just crack in with the scissors. Unless you're selling your molds, then you really have to spend the time. Do them properly. I'm not selling these. I probably couldn't if I tried. So I wasn't too fussed about the edges. Right, it was time to see if these even came out, and they did. And I was absolutely chuffed to pieces. Like, I'm not sure it's a very pretty frame, but I did it. We did it at this point, and this is where I was like, ugh, could have put so much more in the middle, could have had more molds. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And Resin Ace, you were correct. Yes, you were correct. Oh, guys, where the UV resin met the silicone, they are soaking wet, sticky, gloopy, uncured, did not work, do not recommend, do not do it. Now, I've already spoken to my patrons over on my Patreon page. I spoke to them about this, and some of them said that UV resin you can make a silicone mold of UV resin, but the UV resin has to be cured for a long time. So whether that's days or weeks, I can't remember, but I'd have to go back and look at their messages, but long. Much longer than just a few days. It has to be 100%, you know, like a week or 2 weeks later, cured before you silicone mold it. So just don't do what I did. Now, I did leave these silicone molds to fully dry out overnight, because that, where it was wet, where it, you know, it didn't cure on the UV resin, I was worried about that. So I thought, well, I don't want to go ahead and use these right now. Wendy from Toonpish Crafts already taught me that I need to leave my silicone inlays overnight. My silicone molds, leave them overnight before I use them anyway. So I thought I need to now, because they're wet, right? That silicone rubber is gooey and sticky, and I gave both molds a really good rub with isopropyl alcohol and a wet wipe to try and get rid of any uncured silicone rubber before leaving them overnight. Now, next day, we are brushing these. I want like a baroque, antique photo frame, obviously, for the steampunk vibe. I'm going in with the Let's Resin Intense Chameleon Powder. Then on the one on the left, I'm using the Let's Resin Golden Chameleon Powder. That's golden green. The one on the right is like an intense copper and gold. Just dusting these all over. Now, another thing that I'm taking from Wendy from Toonpish Crafts, again, thank you, Wendy, is I'm going to be using the technique that I learned from her channel, and that is that once I've brushed all of these areas, all the intricate details on these molds, once I've got it brushed with one color, I'm going to change to another color to have a combination. And to do that, I'm simply going to use some packing tape, sellotape, packing tape, whatever you call it, this stuff. Grab a bit of this, and then I'm literally shoving it. I'm not being as intentional. Wendy's quite intentional when she does things. She knows what she's doing. I tend to not know much, so I'm just shoving it in there, literally shoving it in there, rubbing my finger around. It pulls off what it pulls off, it leaves what it leaves. That's just how it's going to be. Now, obviously, this is just taking off the areas that are closer to me, which will be the furthest away when we demold. I did exactly the same to this mold here, and with no real knowledge of the outcome. Both of these frames are now getting coated in the teal. This is one of my favorite colors from the Let's Resin Chameleon range. Teal, gold, blue, gold. Oh my gosh, they go together like you wouldn't believe. Brown, teal, and gold are chef's kiss colors. So I knew that whatever I've removed with the packing tape will get the blue treatment. The blue will only stick to the areas that I have removed with packing tape. That's pretty much it. Once the chameleon powder is down, it's down. You can't get underneath it. That blue won't penetrate it. So that's the Wendy Toonpish Crafts technique, and it worked. It actually worked. I've tried it before and it never did because I'm rubbish. But we are now filling these up with the polyurethane again. Did I make too much polyurethane again? Yes, I did. But I had molds to the side, so I was ready for that. I was absolutely ready. Now, because I've used the Let's Resin Chameleon powders, the intense Let's Resin Chameleon powders, you can put white on the back and they will still be absolutely stunning. We all know that black makes chameleon powders pop. Did I have time to make up some epoxy resin and put black pigment in? Sadly, I didn't, because this project, let me tell you, ran over 3 or 4 days. Okay, so we are still going with the polyurethane in the white because I know that these colors are still going to work with it and be beautiful. So again, filling these up to the edge. The fact that I've made these molds and they're working, I mean, I'm so happy. Even though they're just a little bit, what's the word we're looking for? Like shabby, disheveled chic. You know, mismatched. Shabby, disheveled chic. Is that a thing? Anyway, let's speed it up. You can watch this polyurethane cure in real time. If you sit there, you can actually see it with your own eyes. But this is very sped up. It takes around 8 to 10 minutes for this to go completely white, and then I would say you're good to demold after 20 to 30 minutes. Now, if you demold sooner than that, of course, it will be softer. Moment of truth on the demold is, guys, I love her. These are the most Bridgerton colours ever. I'm sorry. You can see my huge mess up there with the UV resin, but the rest is beautiful. It's so delicate. It's regal. It's everything I wanted it to be in this almost baroque style picture frame. This one, not so much. I'm not the biggest fan of this one. It's just not me. I think it was so mismatched, size-wise, depth-wise. The way I glued it together was shoddy. Like, really shoddy, and it broke in 3 places. So it had a lot of work to do on it. I barely took off any of the gold. Like, I would have thought I took off way more gold than that. So barely any of the blue is showing through. So not a fan, not a fan. But this first one, yes, absolutely. Yes, please. It is absolutely my cup of tea. I'm using my deburring tool there just to get rid of those little wispy edges from the inside edge of the mould. But how pretty is this? Just don't look at the areas I messed up on. This was the moment of truth. It was way too big. Way too big. And this one was just way too small. But listen, look, we did it. We did it. We had a go. Okay, we had a go. Now, the best thing about this one being too small is that I can actually manipulate this because it's still quite soft at this point. I can manipulate it out and around the coaster and leave it like that. That will solidify, completely and utterly cure and be solid. But the frame is ugly. It's so ugly. This one, however, I love the frame. So, the only way I could think... Now, this is all very ad hoc, all right? This was very, very... What do I do now? Limited for time. Let me build it up with something bigger around the bottom and then stick the frame around it. Would that work? Don't know. Let's try it. So I've got this mould. I'm putting the same colours in. So we've got the chameleon teal from Let's Resin. We've got the gold intense. And I'm just shoving it in there. Using a brush, smudging it all over. Then to fill this up, I'm using an amount of polyurethane resin again. Now, guys, please wear gloves. This was so like, what can I do now? How can I finish this off? Because believe me, this was only this morning, filmed this morning, all right? This was very panicky. This was panic, Claire. Do I leave it as frames or do I go further and make it into a picture frame? And I decided to go further, but of course, did not occur to me. I hadn't got my gloves on. So please put your gloves on. Now, this is, I want to say 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. And I wanted to get it out whilst the edges were still wet because I thought it's perfectly gluey. I thought I could easily stick things down. Now, look at this, please. This that I'm scraping out of the cup right now is the dregs of the polyurethane resin. Interesting. Because I had scraped everything out of the cup into the blue mold, right? There was some actual dregs left in the cup because there was such a tiny amount of it. It hadn't cured yet. And I was able, after 10 minutes, it hadn't cured yet. So I was able to scrape it out, put it on there, use it as a glue, and everything just worked out perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. Is it too big? Yes, it's too big. But the coaster and the picture frame that we've just DIY'd fits on this circle that I've just made. Now, the blue and the gold, you saw me dust it. The blue and the gold is only there really so that when you see the gap, no, you don't. Do you know what I mean? I was trying to, don't look at the back. We're not judging the back, all right? Forget the back exists. There's got to be better ways to bring this to life. But how cute is it? It's so cute. What I will do now is this will live. This absolutely will live on our bookshelves upstairs. Or just put a little hook in the top with some brown rope or gold string or a gold chain. Gorgeous. I love it. But the actual assembly of the frame itself, a lot of work is needed there. I need to work on that if I do not find a mould to take this place. But this has been so fun. I cannot thank you enough for challenging me to make this myself instead of, just immediately going to buy one. Am I still gonna? Yes. Yes, I still want to buy one because, it's gorgeous and it works. But yeah, anyway, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. This is one of the longest videos I've had in ages. We're just about to hit 30 minutes, which is long for me. So I appreciate you all so much if you are still here. If you are still here, please hype this video. That hype button is working for me. So thank you so much. If you have not used all of your hypes this week, please head down below my video. You'll see the button for it. Hype me. And I believe that will push this video out to people that maybe have never watched my channel, and that would really help me out. Thank you all so much. I hope there's something in this video that's inspired you in some area, in some way, whether it's the silicone rubber, the polyurethane resin, making your own silicone mold, the colors themselves, all from Let's Resin, and all down in the description box with your codes. I appreciate you all. Thanks again to Let's Resin. Like I said at the beginning, this video was all about the Let's Resin polyurethane, sponsored by Let's Resin. And yeah, I appreciate Let's Resin very much. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.